Alright, let's get going. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Ugh. So good to be back. Back in the throne. Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I'm a bit tired. It's going to be a short episode because I'm tired. Um, Today, we're going to be going over the 2026 Oklahoma Sooners schedule. The SEC demands blood, and we're going to deliver that. Please ignore the quotes in those backgrounds. Those are just stuff I'm going to be watching tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to be going over, and I'm going to try to be as realistic and unbiased as possible, and I'm going to give you what I think is my official 2026 Oklahoma regular season schedule. And then I'm going to also pull up a playoff predictor, and we're going to see how far they make it to the playoffs. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. This Oklahoma schedule is one of the toughest schedules in the SEC by far. I mean, looking at other teams though, like Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, it's hard. It's a lot harder than the Sooners because they're going up against some big powerhouses. But in terms of like just schedule wise for a Power Four team, it is definitely up there with like the Buckeyes, Michigan, Texas, even Georgia. So it's going to be fun. We're going to see what happens, and who knows? We'll see what their wins and losses are, and then I'll go over each scenario for Oklahoma, for whatever record they have at the end of this prediction. Again, this is not the official rankings, but this is just my prediction and how I think the season is going to go for the Sooners. But I have high hopes. I'm much higher than anyone else, obviously, but I'm still going to keep this as realistic as I can be. So without further ado, let's go and jump over to our thing over here. Move it up a bit over here. Here you can see I've got them pulled up. I've got their schedule pulled up. And then I have all of this here. And then we're going to click on this and see what they do in the playoff. So we're going to ignore most everyone here except Oklahoma. And I'll even make this a bonus episode, and I'll do Oklahoma State just because I'm an Oklahoma fan. But let's start off with the Sooners. So in the SEC, they have their first game is against is going to be a home game for the Sooners. I think they win. They win against They win against that. And we're also actually going to do this real quick. So it's actually. Week 1. Yeah, Southeastern Conference. Let's go ahead and just go through these. So we're just going to go through them, but we're not going to care about them. I'm just going to tell you. Basically, everyone in the SEC should win. Oklahoma had them beating UTEP. This game, I'm just going to put the pick 'em here and just go with the favorite. I'll do this next. It's just going through these. These should be pretty self-explanatory. First main game here, Oklahoma at Michigan. Obviously, I think last year, Oklahoma hosted Michigan. They won. Oklahoma beat Michigan. John Mateer was really good before his thumb injury, and subsequent, the run game was not there for Oklahoma. But Michigan sort of exposed that they had no run game, but they were still able to win thanks to Isaiah Sategna and John Mateer's. This year, Bryce Underwood's still developing. I don't think Bryce Underwood is he's not ready yet to face a team like Oklahoma or a team like Ohio State completely yet. I think that give him some time in the future, this matchup could become a rivalry. And I do think that Michigan could have a shot to beat the Sooners. But for right now, I just think Oklahoma is a better team overall. You got to look at them. They made the playoffs. Michigan didn't. Michigan lost to Ohio State, and that they're supposed to win that game every year because they've predominantly won against Ohio State since the COVID pandemic. So it would be no, I would not be shocked though if Michigan does pull off the upset over Oklahoma. But in my opinion, Oklahoma is the better team in this situation. They are more road tested than any team on this because most of their schedule is on the road. But they do have a pretty reliable experience when being on the road, and usually they can come out with a win. Probably a low scoring game, probably 17-10, maybe 20. I think maybe 23-20, something where it's just a field goal point away, a field goal miss or field goal kick away from a win. But I do have the Sooners beating the Wolverines. I don't know why this thing's glitching out, and then we're just gonna do this. I'm high on Kansas, whatever. I guess this can also be a prediction for the SEC, but I'm just gonna give you my twofold. So yeah, I think this is a walk in the park for everyone here. Ohio State, I have them beating Texas in my bracket to the next week here. So next week, South Carolina, I think that's going to be Mississippi State, Tennessee, give me Auburn, A&M, Alabama, Missouri, give me Georgia, Vanderbilt, Texas, OU, give me Ole Miss and the Lane train being derailed in the first week. Then you have Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Florida is one of those rivalries. Florida's got a new head coach. I think Trinidad Chance is going to run all over that offense, especially with Florida's new QB. A&M and LSU, this is one of those rivalries that can go either way. Last year, A&M went into LSU and pulled their pants down in front of the whole class and gave them a spanking. But I think LSU gets the revenge from last year. I think Lane Kiffin, unlike Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin actually has a brain, so he will not be stupid that will cost A&M the game. I mean LSU the game. Give me LSU in that revenge game. Then you have this doesn't matter. This is the big one. This is the game that everyone has circled. And they should have it circled because it is a very important game for depending on how everything pans out in the SEC. Now, this is a tough game because on one hand, Oklahoma beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So, if anything, Alabama and Oklahoma prepared the Sooners for what it would be like in a hostile environment like Tuscaloosa or maybe like Athens or the Swamp. I think experience because this is going to be two experiences colliding, and it's just a matter of who has better, who's going to get the jump on, who's going to get the first bite and ultimately win. This could easily be a very close game. Possibly 3 points can decide this game. But being quite frank, I think Oklahoma, despite Georgia's dominance, Georgia, I just can't see. I can't see the Sooners not being able to beat Alabama and then not being able to. Alabama was the team that had Georgia's number for quite a while before Georgia just decided they wanted to wake up one day and throw hands with the entire class. So, despite what everyone else thinks, I'm probably going to be the only one that's going to do this. I have the Sooners pulling off the upset of the week and stunning the Georgia Bulldogs, handing them their first conference loss, bringing them up to 0. How I could see this game going either way, and being realistic, I would Georgia. But if I'm quite frank, I think Oklahoma just having the experience with Brent Venables, you know that defense is going to be deadly, and just absolutely monsters. But you know that offense has to be better. And I think if you look at Oklahoma as a team, they are balanced overall. And then Kirby Smart is a good head, has been beat before. We've seen it with Dan Golish, Lane Kiffin, when he was with not Lane Kiffin, sorry, Pete Golding when he was with not Pete Golding, what's his name? The guy on Ole Miss last year. Wasn't it Lane Kiffin? I think it was Lane Kiffin. I could be wrong. Yeah, it was Lane Kiffin jumping ship, and then after that, Bush takes over and beats Georgia in the playoff spot from last year. I think that Georgia is a good team, but I don't. But they are mortal, and so I think they can be beaten. And if there's a team to beat them, I think it's Oklahoma. And I think Oklahoma does something that no other team has done, and that is have beaten both SEC champs conference in the same decade. Because if you remember, Oklahoma beat Alabama last year, and then they went in this year and basically beat up. I'm sorry, last year Oklahoma beats Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They dethrone they break the Alabama spirit. Although Alabama would get their revenge in the playoffs. How then? But now Oklahoma has the funny thing to do and go upset Georgia at home. And if the Sooners somehow do upset the Bulldogs, it's gonna give them a big confidence, and it shows this game right here will tell you how deadly Oklahoma is going to be. If they lose by a lot, then I don't think Oklahoma's going to be screwed, but it is going to make their path a little bit harder. But if they just go 3 by 3 points or more, 3 points or less, then it's probably going to be they just need to wait another year and then they have a shot at Georgia. But give me the Sooners to get their first win over the Bulldogs in the conference. Next up, Vandy and Auburn. I'm just going to do what I did before. Give me Texas. Give me Alabama. Okay, so currently over here, OU is number 5 next to Texas, which I kind of have. Missouri, Auburn, and Alabama and Ole Miss are up here. Georgia's down here. We are only in the beginning of the week. Give me A&M, Auburn. This game can go either way. Florida, give me the Missouri. Give me Tigers, LSU, South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama. I mean, upset here. Could see that being an upset, but I still have Alabama winning that game. Then Red River. This is my where Oklahoma takes their first L, and I think that I might do. Okay, I'm gonna make an executive decision here, and I'm gonna say Oklahoma loses to Georgia by 3, but they beat Texas and Red River, bringing them to 4-1 and 1-1 in the conference. And I think it sets up a Red River battle for the playoff spot for the number 4 seed in the playoff. About Ole Miss, this game really can go either way, but I think Ole Miss is better. LSU, A&M, give me Georgia. I think Georgia has Alabama's number at this point. South Carolina, and then that's all done. All right, next up. So Oklahoma is currently sitting at. We're focusing mostly on OU here. Oklahoma is sitting at 4-1. They are number 9. This game, you're just gonna go to mark that. I have them beat Kentucky, but give me Auburn. I think Georgia beats Auburn. Give me Florida and give me Texas. Give me LSU, Vandy, A&M. I feel like Alabama's due for a lot. I think Alabama wins this game against Tennessee. It's a rivalry game, though. Third Saturday in October. I think Alabama gets the edge. Oklahoma win. LSU. Give me Auburn in that upset. I think LSU, sorry. Vanderbilt. I feel more. Oh, hi. I feel more. But yeah, I mean, if to recap so far, Oklahoma is sitting at 6-1. Their only loss is to Georgia. But you got to look at it from a perspective of like Alabama and A&M are really good teams, but I think I'm more high on A&M than Alabama. I just think Alabama is not. I, oh, hi, hi, nice to see you. Finally, nice to meet you. Uh, anyways, I think A&M and Alabama. This game, if sorry, Jesus. Looking at this game again, I know I need to be picking Oklahoma, but I feel like I have to do this in order to see the playoff play out. But I think that A&M gets to jump on Alabama. Give me South Carolina. Give me Tennessee. Think. Um. Yeah, I think Ole Miss is due for a loss. Moving on, we have our final. This is going to be one of those boring stretches with the Big Ten taking up. Give me Georgia and Oklahoma. Basically, I have all of the road, all the home. I don't have actually. Let me rephrase that. Give me. I think Georgia still goes 8-0 in the conference. Looking at OU, this right here, I could see happening, but I think Ole Miss is due for a loss. No, I have them winning, and then obviously Texas beats, setting up a 4-5 seed Red River, possibly moving along here. Now we reached the final. We're coming to the final week of the regular season. This is week 10. Tennessee beats Kentucky. A&M beats South Carolina. Looking at the team, I think LSU is just better overall, but I think LSU could be due for a loss. Oklahoma obviously over Florida. Auburn, Texas. Give me Georgia. I think. I don't know. I feel like Ole Miss is there, but I just don't think. I don't think Ole Miss can really. I think Georgia's gonna be strong. Give me Vanderbilt, and then give me Mississippi State with their quarterback. So moving along, LSU and Texas. I have Texas winning. I think Texas is going to make LSU pay for what they did the back to their little brother. Then you've got South Carolina beating Arkansas, A&M and Tennessee. It's a game, but I think A&M you expect them to win that game. Then Georgia, then Auburn, OU and Ole Miss. Now, realistically, Ole Miss does have a chance, but I think since if this game was played on the road, I would pick Ole Miss to win. But since it's being played at Norman, I think the Sooners will have the home field advantage. That gives them the edge they need to go in and beat Ole Miss. And then Alabama, Vanderbilt. Alabama's due for an upset, a big upset. I think in the SEC, you're going to see a big upset from the bottom feeders. So give me Vanderbilt to once again upset Alabama and shock the nation. Then give me Florida. Now we move on to the final 2 weeks. So this final week here before the next week. Mississippi State almost just LSU Tennessee is kind of a rivalry game, but at the same time it's not. I think LSU just gets past Tennessee. Georgia pulls down South Carolina's pants in front of the class. A&M, Oklahoma. Give me Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma, Missouri, and then everyone else gets a free win. I just think everyone else gets the free win here. Looking at the record, Georgia and Oklahoma, 10-1, 11-0. I think they are set for a collision path. Texas and Louisiana, LSU right behind them, A&M and Ole Miss in the 6th seed. Of course, and you got your bottom feeders. All right, now we move into the final week of the regular season. This is obviously rivalry week, so means it's all rivalries. You got Miss, so you got the Egg Bowl. I think Ole Miss wins that one. The Florida and Florida State game. Give me the Gators and that. A&M, the Lone Star Showdown. I think A&M gets one over Texas. Yeah. Oh, it's all gonna depend. I think Texas still beats out A&M. Georgia and Georgia Tech. This game is, but I think Georgia is a better team. The Iron Bowl. Give me Auburn. Just get a little pity point there. Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Battle for Tennessee. The battle for the state of Tennessee. Give me Vanderbilt to upset Big Bro again. LSU over Arkansas. The Golden Boot. South Carolina, the tropical whatever thing in South. I think Clemson's gonna win that one. There's no way South Carolina is beating Clemson. The battle for Kentucky. I think the Cardinals are gonna win. The border. You have the border war between Oklahoma and Missouri. Sorry, you have the what is it? The trench game between Oklahoma and Missouri. It's a rivalry game no one really knows, but it does exist. Give me Oklahoma to finish the record 11-1. And this right here sets up a perfect mirror of what the SEC should. But now let's go over on, and now let's go to the CFP. So obviously we need to do all teams right now. So we already have the SEC. So we're just going to have to do this the old fashioned way and pick every game we need to pick. But I'm going to do it by conference. So obviously, I'm going to pick random teams at this team. I just think that's going to be the best piece for us. So give me a second while I do all this, and I'll be back. I'm gonna All right, so as I said, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna come back to the Big 12 in a second. Since this game has already come up, I'm gonna go over right now. Um, I think OSU. I don't. I wish I could put them over Oregon, but I just can't do that. I don't think Oregon's that dumb. Uh, I mean, Mike Gundy's gone, but Oregon's just a different beast, and it's going to be a lot. It's going to be more difficult than say facing Oklahoma. Like if you think Oklahoma or Oregon to is Oklahoma to sorry, Oklahoma State. The only team that's close enough to represent Oregon for the Big 12 would be Oklahoma, and they're in the SEC, so Big Bro can't help me out, OSU. So you're going to have to fight the beast alone, and I don't think you're winning it. Alrighty, so alright, I think we did this correctly. Oh, by the way, everyone in the Pac-12, there's only gonna be. I'm only gonna do one. Wait, South American. So there'll be one group of five and one group of. There gotta be two groups of. No, there's gotta be one group of five representative, as per the rule, and you also need a group of. You need a. Yeah, you need a power five, and you need one group of five. You need two group of five teams as per rule. So you must have. I think no, actually wait. 1, 2, 3. No, that was a anomaly. So you have to have. So you have to have the four power teams and one group of representative. And I think just going through this, I think your power representative is going to be Tulane. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark all of them as wins. Boom, boom. So alrighty. Cool. So now let's go over to the Big 12. Where we go. Alrighty. So here we go. We're finally here. The Big 12. This is going to be Little Bro. Starting off in week 1, OSU, Tulsa, Battle of I-44. Battle of the Creek Turnpike. I think OSU wins that one. It's not gonna be enough to get into the playoffs, unfortunately, but it'd be fun to see where they place. Austin moves into Oregon, and then have beating. They have to. They lose against this. There's no way they lose against Murray. West Virginia. That game's always fun, but I think OSU just comes out on top. And then, of course, you have none there. OSU, I think they beat UCF. Houston, I think Houston wins there. Colorado, OSU. Iowa State's better, just a better team. That's already 3 losses, so they are out. You have that border war. Texas Tech, I think, comes in and ruins the season for OSU. OSU then gets revenge on Arizona State. And then I think OSU beats Kansas. Unfortunately, it's not going to give them the playoffs. They do end up with an 8-4 record, which is a pretty good record for OSU. But now let's go to the playoffs. And here we go. So Championship Sunday, we're going to go to that now. All right, so here's your Championship Sunday. So obviously you need a Big 12 representative. I don't know who in here is. Okay, so we need to obviously go take care of some stuff. So I just realized we're going to have to go through everyone else. So that's going to screw us a bit. Just Utah, UCF, Kansas, Iowa State, Texas. This is all just free wins for them. West Virginia, yeah, TCU, Cincinnati, Colorado, Kansas, Baylor, BYU, Texas Tech, Houston, Iowa. Next, Cincinnati, BYU, Kansas, Baylor, Utah, TCU, Iowa State, USC, Arizona, Texas Tech. All right, that's all started out. TCU, Cincinnati, Houston, Iowa State, Arizona, Baylor, Texas Tech, Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, West Virginia, Arizona, Cincinnati, BYU. Arizona, this and Baylor. Then I have Kansas beating, I think, Utah and BYU move on. Arizona State, Houston. Carrying along here, Utah and Texas Tech is going to do things to Arizona State. Kansas, Baylor, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. That's what it's probably going to end up being. Kansas, Baylor, give me Kansas, Arizona State, BYU, TCU, Cincinnati, Utah, Arizona, Texas Tech, TCU, Cincinnati, Baylor, Colorado, BYU, Arizona, Kansas, Arizona State, the Holy War, give me BYU, give me Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Cincinnati. I think Iowa State gets the better of them. TCU, Kansas, Houston, BYU. Yeah. All right, week 12. Houston, Cincinnati, BYU, TCU, Iowa State, Arizona, Texas Tech, Colorado, BYU, Baylor. I think Houston's due for a win. Iowa State, Arizona, West Virginia, and then Utah beats West Virginia. So now let's go to the CFP. So let's go to Championship Sunday here. So these games don't matter at the bottom, so we're just going to pick a random team to win. All right, so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Pac-12, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, your Championship Sunday is going to be, Championship Saturday is going to be in the Atlantic Coast, the ACC. It's going to be Miami versus Virginia. The Big 12 is going to be a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship between Texas Tech and BYU. Then the Big 10 is going to be another rematch from last year. It's going to be the Big 10 championship rematch between Indiana and Ohio State. And then in the Southeastern Conference, it's going to be Georgia as always, but Oklahoma is going to have a shot at dethroning Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs on top of the SEC. So honestly, picking these games, I think Miami gets it done. So they will walk up the 5 seed with this win, depending on how everything else goes. I think BYU gets their revenge. Ohio State, Indiana. I think Kirk Cinetti just doesn't have enough in the boat today. So give me Ohio State in that one. Oklahoma, Georgia. Again, this is Georgia going 12-0. I think Oklahoma will find a way to beat Georgia on the road in the SEC. So give me the Sooners to dethrone the Bulldogs from atop the SEC conference. So moving along, again, this is very laggy for some reason, so I don't know why it's being super laggy, but it's not fine at all. I hope it still works out in my favor here. so I think it did. And now look at everything now. We can see that the final rankings are going to be as followed. Let's go to the so we're going to go to the CFP and see where everyone falls. Alrighty, so here is Oklahoma. So at teams, here's the suggested CFP field. Let's put these teams together. So obviously reigning Super Bowl champs here. You're looking at this record for record. Ohio State and Georgia, Virginia and Tulane would lock up the 4 seeds. I think Miami would be ahead in this case. So we're going to correct this, but this is not right. We're going to correct it. But I think in this case, Ohio State and Georgia do. I think Ohio State takes the number 1 seed. Georgia takes the number 2 seed. Like last year. Oklahoma will take the number 2 seed because they win the SEC title. So then it'd be Ohio State, Oklahoma. Then I think it's going to be Miami, and then BYU. I think BYU and Miami are going to be – Miami's going to be the number 3 seed. BYU is going to be the number 4 seed. So Power 4 conferences. So let's go ahead and put those together now. So the first seed's going to be the Buckeyes. So here's that projected playoff. We're going to change this around. So we're going to go ahead and put Ohio State, the number 1 seed. And then Oklahoma, surprising everyone, be taking the number 2 seed away from Georgia. Then I have, and next up would be, obviously, would be the Big 12 champs. So BYU, they would get the bye, put Big 12 champs. The number 4 seed is going to obviously go to the number 5 seed probably goes to Georgia. So I think Georgia will get the number 5 seed here. Number 6, Indiana. I think Indiana will is due for their seed. So then you have Texas Tech would be next. Texas Tech would be next. So Texas Tech, number 8 seed, that's going to be, you're going to have your runner-up in the, you're going to have your, looking at the conference here, you're going to have your 4 SEC teams as well. I think Texas, LSU, I think they get in automatically. This would be interesting, Texas. I think Texas gets in with everything else. So I think the 8 seed's going to be Texas. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen here. So give me Texas to do that one. So Texas goes number 8 seed. Give me looking at these rankings again, I think LSU is also going to get in. You can't leave out LSU and Lane Kiffin if they're 10-2. So then we're going to fill in. So obviously the 12 seed is going to be our American Conference champion. The 11 seed is going to go to Notre Dame, obviously, because they are the they are the where's Notre Dame at? I didn't see Notre Dame. Oh, there they are. So Notre Dame's going to lock at the 11 seed. And obviously have LSU. I think LSU is going to get in no matter what. Where's LSU? There. And then finally, obviously, like I said, I think you're going to also see not Texas. I think you're also going to see one more. Obviously, I think Ole Miss 9-3. They don't win. But looking at these conferences, I think Oregon being 10-2, I think you're not going to leave them out. So Oregon will probably get the 10 seed here. Actually, I'm going to change my vote here, and I'm going to give Oregon the 9 seed. I just think that's more reasonable to look at. So give me Oregon, and then at number 10, LSU sneaks by. Come on. There you go. LSU just sneaks into the playoffs. So here is your projected bracket. Ohio State gets the bye. Oklahoma gets the bye. BYU gets the bye. And Miami gets the bye. So you set up Texas. Round 1 would be the 11 and would be the 5-12 and 11-6 matchup. Notre Dame, Indiana, Georgia, and Tulane. Georgia's going to do to Tulane. Looking at this the 6v11 Indiana Notre Dame rematch of 2022's semifinals. I just think Indiana's the better coach team. I think Notre Dame had an easy schedule, and I think Indiana will expose them. Texas Tech 7v10 against LSU 7. This is always the one that throws people off. I think LSU, Oregon and Texas 8v9. This would be a fun game. Arch Manning against Dante Moore, but I think Texas. I don't know. I mean, you're looking at it perspective wise, it could be a pick 'em, but I think Oregon's not gonna. They're not gonna let another one. I think if they made it this far, I think they just edge out Texas. So you're setting up 1, 2, 3, 4. You're setting up four. You're setting up 2 rematches, and then 2 brand new games. So we're gonna go to the bottom. Let's start with the matchups. You got the number 6. You have the BYU versus 3v6. Sorry, BYU, but I know you're pretty good, but you just got by because you're in the Big 12. Indiana plays a tougher schedule. They play a tougher conference. Oklahoma and LSU. This is the 2v10 matchups. Honestly, Oklahoma's made it. They deserve to win that game. Going up here, you have what would have been the semifinal from last year between Miami and Georgia. Had Georgia beaten Ole Miss, it would have been Georgia and Miami in the semifinals. I think that this time Georgia makes it past the semifinals. And it's going to be an awesome defensive game, but I think Georgia is just. You see, Miami's a tricky one because you don't know what their talent's going to be. But I think Georgia, having played the SEC so much, I think they just get over the hump. Ohio State, Oregon, obviously, this is where Oregon was last year, but then they got basically embarrassed in front of the whole class by Indiana. I think Ohio State just gets the edge. I think it's a 3-point game. Oregon just can't. they just can't do it. They get further than they did before, but I think once they just run into one of the powerhouse teams in the Big Ten every time. And if Oregon with it all depends on that Texas game. If Oregon State keeps it close with Texas, I think they lose. But if they blow out Texas, I could very well be seeing Oregon beat Ohio State. But I think Ohio State's more experienced. So you have Indiana and Ohio and Oklahoma against Georgia and Ohio State. So you have the 5v1 and 6v2. Obviously, both seeds made it past. Um, Looking at this perspective wise, this could, I think, honestly, I know I'm trying to not be high, but I just feel like I don't know, like Kirk Cinetti and Kalen DeBoer. It's the matchup everyone would want to see, they would dream of. I just think Indiana finally runs out of gas. They're not talented enough. Oklahoma literally had to go through the entire gauntlet of powerhouse teams just to make it to this point. I think just that experience alone is enough to edge over Indiana, who's just coming off of an emotional win against the Miami Hurricanes from last year. Going up here, you have a rematch of the semifinals from right after the pandemic. Obviously, it was uh, new the New Year's miss when Georgia missed a game tying field goal as the clock struck midnight on the new year, ending Georgia's season in literally, metaphorically, and literally at the same time, uh, as that brought into the new year. I think this time Georgia's more prepared, and they finally beat Ohio State, setting up what would be almost impossible. I'm this is very I don't think this is gonna happen, but it's as realistic as you're gonna get. Like this game could go either way. This game could go either way. A lot of these games can go back one or the other. Well, Jordan Tulane and Indiana Notre Dame, maybe not, but Texas and Oregon, maybe not. But you get my point. Like a lot of these teams could cannibalize each other. Think for realistic wise, for my prediction, I think this game. I I don't know. I want to pick Oklahoma, but I said I wouldn't be biased. But I think if Georgia somehow makes it here and they have to face Oklahoma, Oklahoma's already gonna have that win over Georgia. Have two wins over, but it's hard to win a game twice in a row. And I think after they get lucky, I think it's hard to win a game three times in a row. So unfortunately, it's a sad ending for the Sooners. A good year for them, but Georgia Bulldogs do fall. Oklahoma Sooners do fall to the Georgia Bulldogs, and I have Oklahoma being second and actually pretty much solidifying themselves as a contender for the playoffs next year. I think next year they're going to go for gold, but unfortunately this year I think Georgia is just too much to handle for the Sooners. If you beat Georgia twice, great, but to beat them a third time would be astronomically lucky. And I think Smart at that point would know what Brent Venables will do. And I think just like before, Oklahoma just they ran into they got screwed by the college. They got screwed by the committee for their schedule. I think if Oklahoma had to play Alabama again instead of Georgia, I might pick Oklahoma to beat Georgia in the national title because that would mean that Georgia doesn't have that. That means that head-to-head win over Georgia doesn't matter. but just because they have to face Georgia in Athens in the regular season and then go on the road to the SEC in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is basically a home game for Georgia. It's I think once you beat them in the title and the championship, I think there's no way Georgia loses a title to Oklahoma. If it happens, Georgia would basically be clown of the year. But I think if Georgia beats Ohio State, beats Miami, then beats Ohio State, I think they can beat up Oklahoma. My final score will be 28 to 20, 28 to 20, 29, will be 30 to 28, and it would be, I'm sorry, 20, it would be 27 to 30, and the Sooners fall by a field goal. Maybe Tate Sandow doesn't get his booty shorts right and he kicks one far right or something. But I think Georgia it's gonna just overwhelm the Sooners. The Sooners are gonna be super tired at this point. But I could see it go either way. But yeah, I think Georgia's just that good. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. To recap the Sooners here. Going back to the Sooners. So the Sooners schedule, they go record, they go 11-1 and then they go 8-1 in the conference. They go 11-1 overall. But wait a minute. They lose to Georgia. Hold on. I need to redo that. So Oklahoma loses to Georgia in the regular season. Okay, hold on. And then beats. And then I have them right. I have them. I have them beating. So yeah, I think I'm gonna actually switch my vote here and go Oklahoma. I think I got my words mixed. I think I got my brain mixed up. I thought that I picked Georgia to Oklahoma wins. That's the one I had them losing to Georgia, winning Texas. So basically a flip flop. Instead of Oklahoma beating Georgia and losing to Texas Oklahoma beats Texas but loses to Georgia. So yeah, that makes more sense because that still gives Georgia its 12-0 record. Wait, what? Huh? Hold on, what? No, I think, I don't know why this is not wanting to upload, but it's really killing me. Uh, okay, so yeah, fixing that. Okay, so I fixed that. So I'm gonna change my mind. Executive decision. So Oklahoma does end up winning it all. I'm not being biased here. I think I predicted everyone else, and I think this is just like this year's going to be unpredictable. But here's my official Oklahoma bracket. I mean, official record. Oklahoma. So, going to go to um So here you go. So SEC, Georgia takes the win. Oh, no, this should be. No. Oh. There we go. All right. As I was saying, as I was saying, um, as I was saying, huh? All right. So Oklahoma wins the SEC, and they go on Oklahoma's final record 12-1. Their only loss coming to Georgia, the runner-up, and but yeah, here is Oklahoma's full schedule. They go 11. Their final record 11-1, 8-1 in conference, making the playoff as the number 2 ranked team in the nation. And there you have it. So let me know in the comments what you guys have for OU. This schedule is brutal, but it's manageable compared to last year. Yeah. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in a couple weeks. Football season is about to begin. I meant college football begins in the 27th, so not too long a ways from that, and we begin the road to the 2027 national title. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'm Alex, your host of the Alex Sports Podcast Show. Good night, everyone. Boomer Sooner.